Dear brothers and sisters, there will come a moment in your life when the phone goes silent, when the room feels heavier than your chest, when the people you trusted are no longer standing beside you. And in that moment, your heart will whisper a terrifying thought, I am alone. But listen carefully, you are not. When you have no one left, Allah is enough. We often build our strength on people. We lean on friendships, family, approval, and applause. We feel safe when someone understands us, validates us, stays. And when they leave, it feels like the ground disappears beneath our feet. But sometimes Allah removes the ground so you learn how to fly toward Him. Allah never promised that people would stay. He promised that He would. People can love you today and misunderstand you tomorrow. People can make promises with sincerity and break them with weakness. But Allah is Al-Wadud, the most loving. He loves without conditions, without limits, without expiry. When the doors of people close, do not panic. That may be the moment Allah opens a door you never knocked on. Sometimes Allah isolates you not to punish you, but to protect you, to pull you away from voices that confuse your heart and bring you closer to the one who heals it. Think about the prophets. Think about Prophet Musa, peace be upon him, standing before the sea, an enemy behind him, no escape in sight. The people cried out, we are going to be caught. And Prophet Musa, peace be upon him, replied with unshakable certainty, no, indeed my Lord is with me, He will guide me. When everyone saw the end, Allah made a way through the impossible. Think about Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in the cave, pursued, surrounded by danger, with only one companion. And Allah reassured him, do not grieve, indeed Allah is with us, not with armies, not with numbers, with us, that was enough. You see, loneliness with Allah is not loneliness, it is clarity. It is the noise of the world finally quieting so your heart can hear the truth. It is in those moments when you cry with no shoulder to lean on, when you make dua with tears soaking your hands, that your relationship with Allah becomes real. When no one checks on you, Allah is watching over you. When no one understands your pain, Allah knows every detail of it. When no one defends you, Allah is your defender. When no one chooses you, Allah has already chosen you. Do not measure your worth by how many people stay. Measure it by how close you are to Allah. People leaving does not mean you are unlovable. Sometimes it means Allah loves you too much to leave you where you are. Yes, it hurts. Faith does not mean you won't feel pain. Even Prophet Yaqub, peace be upon him, cried until he lost his sight. But notice where he turned. He said, I only complain of my suffering and my grief to Allah, not to the world, not to those who couldn't fix it, to Allah. When you have no one left, you learn to put your sajda where your heart is broken. You learn that the night is not empty, it is full of mercy. You learn that Allah hears the dua you cannot even put into words. And then something beautiful happens. Allah becomes enough, not because you don't need people, but because you no longer depend on them for your peace. Your peace comes from knowing that the one who controls hearts, outcomes, and destinies is holding yours. So if today you feel abandoned, unseen, forgotten, do not lose hope. This may be the chapter where Allah introduces Himself to you in a deeper way. Hold on, keep praying, keep trusting, keep walking, even if it's just one step at a time. Because when everyone else leaves, when the world turns its back, when you have no one left, people leave, but Allah never does. Human support is temporary, but Allah's presence is constant. When relationships fade, Allah remains closer than ever. People leave. This is one of the hardest realities to accept in life. You open your heart, you trust, you invest your emotions, and you believe that some people will always be there, but time passes. Situations change, misunderstandings grow, and suddenly those same people are no longer beside you. When that happens, the pain is not just emotional, it feels spiritual. You begin to question your worth, your choices, and sometimes even your strength. Yet, in this painful truth lies a deeper lesson. People leaving does not mean Allah has left you. In fact, it is often at this exact moment that Allah draws closer than ever. Human beings are limited. Their love has conditions. Their loyalty has limits, and their presence depends on circumstances. Someone can promise you forever while standing in comfort, and disappear when hardship arrives. This does not always make them evil, it makes them human. Hearts change, intentions weaken, and people become consumed by their own struggles. But Allah is not bound by weakness or circumstance. He does not grow tired of you. He does not abandon you because you failed, cried too much, or asked too often. Allah remains constant when everything else shifts. When everyone leaves, Shaitan often whispers that you are alone, unwanted, or forgotten. This is a dangerous lie. Being alone does not mean being abandoned by Allah. Many times Allah removes people from your life because they were not meant to walk with you to the next stage. Some people are lessons, not lifelines. They come to teach you something about yourself, about attachment, about patience, and about where your heart truly belongs. If Allah allowed everyone to stay, you might never learn to lean on Him. There is a special kind of closeness that is only experienced in moments of isolation. When the noise of people disappears, the voice of your heart becomes clearer. In those quiet moments, you realize that Allah has been watching every tear you hid, every prayer you whispered, and every night you felt like giving up. Allah sees what people overlook. He knows the pain you could not explain. He understands the hurt behind your silence. While people may forget your struggles, Allah records them with care and mercy. People often disappoint because we expect from them what only Allah can give. We expect emotional security, constant understanding, and unconditional support. When these expectations are not met, our hearts break. But Allah never asked you to place your peace in people. True peace comes from knowing that Allah controls hearts, outcomes, and destinies. When you rely on Allah instead of people, your stability no longer depends on who stays or who leaves. Even the most beloved servants of Allah experienced abandonment. They were misunderstood, rejected, and left alone at crucial moments. Yet Allah was always enough for them. Their strength did not come from crowds, but from certainty in Allah. When support disappeared, faith took its place. When doors closed, Allah opened paths where none seemed possible. This teaches us that divine support is more powerful than human presence. When you reach a point where no one checks on you, no one asks how you are, and no one notices your struggle, do not think Allah is distant. That may be the moment He is closest. Allah sometimes removes distractions so you can finally turn to Him with sincerity. Your dua becomes more honest, your tears become more meaningful, your sajda becomes longer, not out of habit but out of need. And there is no shame in needing Allah. That need is a sign of Iman. People leaving your life does not reduce your value. You were never valuable because of who stayed. Your worth was written by Allah long before anyone knew your name. When Allah chooses you, the loss of people cannot erase that honor. In fact, Allah may be protecting you from attachments that would have weakened your relationship with Him. So when you feel like you have no one left, pause and reflect. Ask yourself not who is gone, but who remains. Allah remains. He listens when no one else does. He responds in ways you may not immediately understand. He replaces what is lost with what is better at the right time in the right way. People may leave your life, but Allah never leaves your heart unless you push Him away. Hold on to Him even when your hands are shaking. Trust Him even when the road feels lonely. Because when everyone else leaves, when the world turns silent, and when your heart feels heavy with loss, Allah is not just enough, He is everything. Loneliness can be a doorway to Allah. Being alone is not a punishment. It is often Allah drawing you nearer, teaching you to rely on Him alone. There are moments in life when loneliness feels heavier than any physical pain. You may be surrounded by people and still feel unseen, unheard, and disconnected. Or you may truly be alone, with no one to call, no one to lean on, and no one who seems to understand what you are carrying inside. In these moments, the heart often asks, why me? But what if this loneliness is not a punishment but an invitation? What if Allah is calling you closer through the silence? Many people fear being alone because it forces them to face their own thoughts and emotions. Noise, company, and constant interaction often act as distractions, keeping us from reflecting deeply. When Allah removes those distractions, it can feel uncomfortable and even frightening. Yet it is in this quiet space that the heart begins to speak honestly. Without the influence of people's opinions, expectations, and judgments, you start to see yourself more clearly and turn more sincerely toward Allah. Loneliness has a way of breaking false dependencies. When people are always around, we sometimes place our emotional security in them without realizing it. We expect them to heal us, reassure us, and make us feel whole. But people are not meant to carry that weight. When they fall short, we feel shattered. Allah, in His wisdom, sometimes removes people so you learn where your true support lies. He teaches you that the heart finds real comfort, not in companionship alone, but in connection with Him. In moments of isolation, dua changes. It becomes raw and honest. There is no audience to impress, no words chosen carefully for others. It is just you and Allah. You speak to Him about fears you never voiced, wounds you never acknowledged, and hopes you were too afraid to admit. These conversations, born from loneliness, build a relationship with Allah that is deep and unshakable. This is the kind of closeness that cannot be achieved in comfort alone. Allah knows that constant reliance on people can weaken the soul. When everything is going well and support is easily available, faith can become routine. But when you have no one to turn to except Allah, faith becomes survival. Every prayer feels urgent. Every verse of the Quran feels personal. Every act of worship becomes a lifeline. In this way, loneliness purifies intention and strengthens Iman. Even though loneliness hurts, it often brings clarity. You begin to understand who truly matters in your life and what truly matters in your heart. You realize that not everyone who walked with you was meant to stay. Some people were part of a phase, a lesson, or a test. Letting go of them creates space for growth. Allah does not take something away unless He plans to replace it with something better, even if you cannot see it yet. There is also a hidden strength that develops in isolation. When you learn to stand alone with Allah, you become less shaken by rejection and loss. Your self-worth no longer depends on validation from others. You gain resilience, patience, and trust. You learn that even if the world turns its back on you, Allah's door remains open, day and night without conditions. Loneliness also teaches humility. It reminds you of your need for Allah at every moment. It softens the heart and makes it more compassionate toward others who are struggling silently. When Allah heals you through solitude, you become a source of comfort for others, not because you have all the answers, but because you understand pain. If you are in a season of loneliness, do not rush it or resent it. Ask Allah what He is teaching you through it. Use this time to rebuild your relationship with Him. Speak to Him often. Trust that He is near, even when you feel distant from everything else. Remember that Allah is closer to you than your own heartbeat, even when no one else is around. This period will not last forever. Allah never keeps His servant in darkness without a purpose. One day you will look back and realize that this loneliness was the moment your faith became real, your heart became strong, and your reliance on Allah became complete. What felt like emptiness was actually Allah making space for Himself in your heart. True peace comes from trusting Allah, not people. When Allah becomes enough, your heart finds stability, strength, and peace no matter who stays or leaves. There comes a time when the heart finally understands a truth it once resisted. You realize that no matter how much love people show, how close they seem, or how deeply you depend on them, they can never be the source of lasting peace. People change, circumstances shift, feelings fade. And when that happens, the heart feels shaken because it was holding on to something temporary. This is why true peace can only come from trusting Allah, not people. Many of us attach our happiness to human presence. We feel calm when someone reassures us, confident when someone supports us, and safe when someone promises to stay. But this kind of peace is fragile. It depends on moods, availability, and loyalty. The moment that support weakens, anxiety takes over. Allah never intended your heart to live in that fear. He created the heart to rest with Him alone. Allah is constant when everything else is uncertain. People may love you sincerely yet still fail you unintentionally. They may misunderstand your silence, judge your weakness, or walk away when life becomes heavy. Allah never misunderstands you. He knows your intentions even when your actions fall short. He knows the pain behind your patience and the effort behind your struggle. When you trust Allah, your peace no longer depends on how others treat you. True peace is knowing that whatever happens has already passed through the knowledge and wisdom of Allah. When something is taken from you, Allah allowed it. When someone leaves your life, Allah saw it before you did. And when Allah allows something to end, it is never without purpose. Trusting Allah means believing that His plan is kinder than your attachment, even when your heart is hurting. This trust is what gave strength to the believers before us. When Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, was left in a barren land with no people, no resources, and no visible help, his heart was at peace because he trusted Allah. That trust turned a desert into a place of blessing. When Maryam, peace be upon her, was alone with her pain and fear, Allah sent comfort from where she did not expect it. Their peace did not come from people standing beside them, but from certainty in Allah standing with them. When you place your trust in Allah, you stop chasing reassurance from people. You stop needing constant approval. You stop fearing abandonment. This does not mean you stop loving people. It means you stop worshiping their presence in your life. You love them without depending on them for your worth or your stability. Your heart becomes grounded, not because life is easy, but because Allah is in control. Trusting Allah also teaches you acceptance. You begin to accept that some doors closing are a form of mercy. Some relationships ending are protection. Some delays are preparation. When your heart trusts Allah, it stops arguing with destiny and starts growing through it. You learn to say Allah knows best, not as empty words, but as a deep belief that calms your soul. Peace through Allah does not mean the absence of sadness. You will still feel pain, you will still miss people, you will still cry, but that pain will no longer destroy you. It will soften you. It will bring you closer to Allah instead of pushing you toward despair. You will grieve without losing hope because your hope is not tied to people returning, but to Allah providing what is best. When Allah becomes the foundation of your peace, you become emotionally free. You are no longer controlled by who stays or who leaves. You are no longer broken by rejection. You understand that your life is not a reflection of people's choices, but of Allah's wisdom. This kind of peace is quiet, steady, and unshakable. So if your heart feels tired from trusting people too much, let it rest with Allah. Place your worries in dua. Place your fears in sujud. Place your future in His hands. Because when Allah is the source of your peace, nothing and no one can take it away.